So, you've got your delicious, traditionally made Gharnu Athanu pickle. And honestly, we want you to enjoy every last bite for as long as possible. That's why we put together this super simple guide, just a few easy tips to help you keep it fresh, safe, and tasting absolutely amazing. Let's dive right in.
Okay, the moment has arrived. You open the box, you get that incredible aroma, and you can't wait to dig in. But then the questions pop up, right? What do I do with this pouch? Should this go in the fridge, the cupboard? We get it. And we're going to answer all of those questions right now, starting with the single most important first step.
The very first thing you need to do, and I mean before you even think about grabbing a spoon, is to move your pickle from our delivery pouch into its new home. Trust me, this one simple action is the secret to making it last.
So you might be wondering, why the switch? Why do you send it in a pouch if I just have to put it in a jar? Well, it's pretty simple. We use that special food-grade pouch for one big reason: safety. It's tough, it prevents any breakage during shipping, and it makes sure your pickle arrives perfectly. But for everyday use at home, nothing beats a good old-fashioned glass or ceramic jar. It's just so much better at protecting the pickle from air and moisture once you've opened it.
And making the transfer couldn't be easier. First, and I can't stress this enough, grab a clean and completely dry glass or ceramic jar. Any little bit of water is a no-go. Then, just carefully open up the pouch, transfer all of that goodness into the jar, and seal that lid on nice and tight. And that's it. Your pickle is now in its perfect forever home.
All right, so your pickle is all settled in its shiny new jar. Now, where does it live? On the kitchen counter? Tucked away in the fridge? Well, here's the thing. Not all pickles are created equal. The right spot actually depends on what kind of pickle you have.
Let's break it down. There are basically three main types. For your classic oil-based pickles, room temperature is totally fine. The big rule here is that all the pieces have to be completely submerged, just swimming in that oil. Now, for pickles that have little to no oil, those are different. They need to live in the refrigerator. And for our amazing, sweet, jaggery-based pickles, they're just like the oil-based ones. Room temp is perfect, as long as every piece stays covered in that delicious, sweet syrup.
So what does this mean for your jar? Well, if you've got our classic mango pickle or Gol Keri, those are oil-based, so a kitchen cabinet is their happy place. If you have one of our non-oil varieties, that one goes straight into the fridge as soon as you open it. And if you're about to enjoy our sweet Gol Keri, that jaggery syrup does all the work, so room temperature is absolutely fine.
Now, it doesn't matter if your pickle is oily, sweet, or something else. There are three universal golden rules. Think of them as simple habits that will guarantee every single jar stays fresh, safe, and unbelievably delicious right down to the last spoonful.
Okay, golden rule number 1. And seriously, if you forget everything else I've said, please remember this. Always, and I mean always, use a completely dry spoon.
Why are we so fanatical about this? Because the number one enemy of a long-lasting pickle is moisture. It's that simple. All the little nasty things like bacteria and fungus, they need water to grow. Even a single tiny drop of water from a wet spoon can be enough to kickstart that whole spoilage process. So please, keep it dry.
Golden rule number 2 is just as easy. Always, always keep the jar lid screwed on tightly.
Think of that lid as your pickle's personal bodyguard. You know how the oil or the syrup creates a protective barrier inside the jar? Well, a tight lid does the same thing for the outside world, shielding it from moisture and other stuff floating around in the air. So don't leave it open on the counter while you eat. Serve yourself and then seal it right back up.
And finally, our third golden rule. Store your pickle jar away from direct sunlight. Sunlight and heat are not a pickle's friend. They can mess with the color, the texture, and just how long it stays perfectly preserved. You don't need anywhere special, really. Just a cool, dry spot like a kitchen cabinet or a pantry is the absolute perfect home.
So, a dry spoon, a tight lid, and a dark cupboard. You know, these might seem like small, maybe even obvious things, but they are directly connected to generations of wisdom and the actual science of what makes a traditional pickle last so long.
Let's just geek out on the science for a second. The main reason any food goes bad is because of tiny microorganisms that start to grow on it. And the one thing they all need to thrive is water. That's it. Every single step in making a traditional pickle, and every rule we've just talked about, is designed to do just one thing: keep that water out. Here's how it all connects. In our kitchen, we start by sun-drying ingredients to get rid of moisture right from the beginning. We use salt, which is a natural preservative that literally pulls even more water out. Then we submerge everything in oil or syrup, creating that physical shield that blocks out air.
So your care at home, using that dry spoon and clean jar, is really just the final, crucial step in this ancient, all-natural preservation process.
We pour so much care and tradition into making your pickle, using methods that have been passed down through our family for generations. By following these simple little steps, you're not just storing a jar of food, you're actually taking part in that tradition. A little care from you continues the tradition of care that started with us. We really hope you enjoy it.